Making noise over here? Alright. I see some sound bars moving. Let's see. Bum, 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 bum. Turn this off. There we go. Alright. So, we are going to remake an old map. I wonder if I can just show you this real quick, what I'm looking at. I do a window capture and we'll name it temp 232. We don't want that. That doesn't work. Well, shucks. All right. I'm going to show you what I'm looking at here. It's going to be, let me. I guess I could do this. Just give it a random number. There we go. And if I do that, trim it up a little bit. There we go. So this is an old map that I did in the very first campaign that I ran. This was like midway through the campaign, I think. I had, dibble-dabbled in a little bit of different tools, and this one was, yeah, what was this? Was like, you can get it on Steam. I could look real quick. Anyway, I made it in that, and it's a pretty decent tool, especially for what it cost. I think I paid, or actually, is it? No, I don't think it's free. I think it was like $5 or something. I caught it on sale. If I went way back, I could look, but let's see. If I just search, nope, not map, dungeon something. I can't spell dungeon. Not bit dungeon. Dungeon Painter Studio. That's what it is. Wow, I got 43 hours in that. It's pretty good. It's a pretty simple little tool. Kind of lacks some things that I wanted. And Dungeon Draft, which is what I'll be drawing in today, just did some things better, but I will say, I realized the other day I was making a map and I wanted raised platforms like this. Like in Dungeon Painter, you can paint your tiles down and then say, I want these raised, and it'll ask you like what angle your light's coming in or something like that. I forget how it works, but you can adjust the shadows along the side. And that's how I made these look like they're coming out of the water. And I was making a map for a one-shot just a couple weeks ago, and I needed some raised platforms. Or I wanted basically the same concept, except it was acid in a big cave, but I wanted all these pillars, or not pillars, but areas they could walk on that were very high above the acid. You love Dungeon Draft. It's pretty great. I do too. It's very simple, straightforward. But anyway, I couldn't figure out how to do that very well in Dungeon Draft. So let me hide that, and then we'll get in. Actually, I can just show you exactly what my problem was. Let's see. I had made a bunch of acid. Blah, 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 blah. And then I wanted probably something like this. Oops. No. Okay. I realized the error of my ways here. Let me put some rocks down. Alright, and just for some contrast here, there we go. Now you can see what I'm getting at. So imagine you had a thing of rock there that you wanted to be able to get on. What is it? See, like that looks like it's almost flush with the acid, but I wanted this platform area to be higher up. And like, there might be a way, but I can't figure out how to make it look more raised. Because that looks like, you know, you could, if there was a little bit of ripple or tide in the acid, it would just bloop right over that rocky area. Let's see what I probably just Anti-Sea Western Cave. That's probably it right there. Yep, that's it. That's what I was trying to do. It's like I wanted these bridges to be high up and all that. So it's like, oh yeah, you know, and the bad guys are coming down, and like you could knock them off, and they way down into the acid. Can't just crawl right back out. So it doesn't look like that. I tried fiddle farting around with there's a shadow tool here. You can make a path, but well, that's blood. You know, why didn't you grab the shadow one? Why are you? There we go. You could like try and get it there, but it ain't right, Chief. I didn't like it. Whereas in this thing, it just looked a lot better. You take a quick glance and be like, oh yeah, that looks like it's high up, and then the players ask, how high is it? So not the end of the world. It's just one thing it did better. And I will say, drawing circles in Dungeon Painter Studio or whatever it was also a little better. Pros and cons to each, depends on what you're trying to make. If I remember right, in Dungeon Painter, right, that's what this was called, making more natural terrain was not very good from what I remember. But you know, like making dungeon rooms, it was fine. Oh, I didn't. I just realized I brought that window up and nobody could see it. I didn't transition. Well, anyway, natural terrain is way easier in Dungeon Draft. I gotta keep these names the same, or proper, not the same. Anyway, we are going to try and remake. Should probably just do this. So whenever I want to pull this up, you guys can see it. And I don't have to remember to hit the transition button. Neither program is really perfect. Yeah, like I was saying, it just depends on what you're going for. Like, this did really good for what we needed. And the reason a lot of these rooms are super empty is because I was using Roll20 at the time. And that is, much as I hate Roll20, one nice feature is about Roll20, when you're in it, using it, you can just go basically do a mini internet search for tiles. And, you know, it's like, oh, I want a chair in here. And you can just go look up chairs and get different ones and drop them in there while you're playing, you know. So I dressed up the dungeon a lot in Roll20, whereas I made the skeleton of it, or the chassis, whatever you want to call, in here. So that's why it's very empty. It's like there was a chest hiding over here, I think, and it's a very basic dungeon. It's not complicated at all. Like, they start, except you can't see over there. Do that. Like, they start over here, and then they come in, and this is a wizard, right? He has this special lair. So the idea was north. Have you considered streaming, recording them, saying how you use your maps and play? So, on that note, I did try streaming some TTRPG sessions, but I find that incredibly boring. Like, I don't enjoy watching other people play TTRPGs. Like, that's kind of, I don't get it. You kind of, I didn't feel like it was too fair to the people I was playing with either. They said they didn't mind, and they were okay with it. But I feel like you kind of have to get everybody in the mindset, like, hey, we're going to be streaming, we're going to be putting on a show, so be lively. Have, you know, do silly things. Like, you kind of, you don't script it, but you kind of have to have a different mindset, where this is just supposed to be our kick back and enjoy life time. But I would like to do some of that, especially, so I got a lot of good feedback on the Easy D6 video I did, where I admitted I made a mistake, but the part that everybody liked was there was a section of the video I had a map and a room and a fight, you know, all laid out, and I compared how that ran in 5e versus how that ran in Easy D6, and people really liked that part, so I would like to do some more of that, and probably do it on stream maybe, and then, you know, do a video short version of it. Never really watch actual plays. Yeah, like I don't, that's something I don't get. Despite being, I guess, a part of it. But anyway, this wasn't a lot going on with this dungeon. You walk in, and if I remember, there's this round room right here, and there were 3 torches, and they were empty, or braziers, however you say that, braziers, I think, and they were empty. And up to the north was like foresty, jungly kind of area, and as you can see, there's only a couple rooms, and there's a mini boss at the end of all these, and the mini bosses in this were brothers and sisters of one of the player characters, but not too critical to the map here. So one was foresty, and to the east here, this was all fiery. You can't see any of it because I put like flames down in Roll20. So this was, I think there was a trick wall right here they had to get through. Yeah, they walked halfway through and then realized they couldn't go back because a wall appeared and there was fire everywhere. And they had to walk through some fire that turns out it was fake. And there were some fire traps, yada, 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 yada. And I feel like there was something in this room. But then there was the, you know, the mini boss, and then the water side over here down south they really liked because they came in right here, and this was like a big half pipe thing, and there's just a little bit of water, so they could just get in it, go across. It wasn't a big deal. There was a switch right here, and it let them control the water. When they flipped it, whoop, the half pipe filled up, and they could swim across it safely. There wasn't any danger in that water, but depending on whether, you know, they had this water raised or lowered, this area down here would be raised or lowered, and The door was underwater, whereas these pillars right here, they could stand on when the water was full. But if they swam in this water, there was something in the water that would get them. Now, they never could see or figure out what it was. And, you know, they had to do their saves to try and get out. So there was a little puzzle here they had to do with the raising and lowering of the water because they needed the water high over here to get this up. And then they lowered it here. So there was a little trickery that they had to do and get snagged by the water monster. And then they went up here. And the idea was like, okay, we can jump. Sort of. I think most of them could jump this one too because it was close enough. Whereas this one is like, oh man, that's kind of risky. You know, we may or may not be able to jump that, you know, and again, if they got in the water, the little water monster would get them. And then this one, that was way too long to jump. And then, you know, down here, they fought the water monster. So that was neat. And then when they beat the mini bosses and came back to the center room, that brazier would light up. You know, there'd be a green flame and then a red flame and then a blue flame. And then when all three of them were lit, then they had to fight all three mini bosses at the same time in this room. And then when they beat them, as you can see, there's a door here going nowhere. The room rotated and that door lined up over here, which let them go fight Tovenaar, the big bad wizard. So it was fun. It was fun. They enjoyed it. So what we're gonna do, I guess, I would be interested in seeing how you use the maps in game. I'm new to VTTs and have found it. Oh, really? So, which VTT are you using? Are you just using Roll20, or did you go snag one? We started off in Roll20. Excuse me, because that's just what everybody had access to. It was free, you know, simple enough to use despite having tons of issues. But then for our second campaign, we grabbed Foundry, which is only one person has to pay for it, you know, obviously the GM. And then they open it up and everybody joins them. Miles better. It's just a night and day difference in how well it functions. Way more intuitive. And I recently discovered, so we played, much to my dismay, our campaign was in 5e, and I did that for a couple years, and it still ran beautifully compared to Roll20, but recently I got into a Pathfinder game with somebody, and the module in Foundry for Pathfinder had so much better support. That was a night and day difference in Foundry, just compared to how well supported the 5e one was. So supposedly the 5e one's officially supported now, and like they changed up the character sheet a whole bunch, but that's all they did. So I don't know. I got to make a round room, and I really dislike making round rooms in Dungeon Draft. We should save this somewhere. We'll call this just Tovenaar's Dungeon. Say, and this is what I mean when I say I don't like making round rooms in Dungeon Draft. So if I make, you can do this. Just whoop, there's a round room. It's great, but then you have no control. I don't think. Okay, maybe I'm a liar, or maybe it got changed. I don't know. Okay, so I can change the wall. I can't change the floor. That's the problem. I am locked into the floor that I made. And I guess technically, you could put a floor on top of that floor if you wanted to. You did this, and then you could change it. Yeah, okay, so I don't like that. But I guess you could do that. I don't know. I guess we'll try it. We'll try it. I'd like to have a VTT that complements Poopta games. Thanks for streaming and talking about it. Yeah, no problem. So I actually recently, that I don't know if you've seen it, the video I did on Dim Day Red, that was the first time. Well, I can't say it's the first time I've heard Powered by the Apocalypse, but that was my first real exposure to it, and I got to see what it was and how it functions. So I am anxious to try a Apocalypse game, a Powered by the Apocalypse game. Not any specific one, just one of those that follows basically that, yeah, you roll and you have a success, a super success, or a success with an issue and total failure. It looks neat. And General Foundry is VTT most people like, can fit most systems. Yeah, and there's actually Squirrel Power. There's actually, I guess you would call it a system you can download. I think it's a system, not a module or add-on mod, whatever. It's whatever you would categorize 5e and Pathfinder and all that under. There's a make your own, and it just has little, not quite drag and drop, but more easily to set up than, you know, coding it yourself. And that seems pretty neat if you wanted to set up your own thing. Really, I use the Easy D6 module a lot for different things, like the little squirrely system I've been making, and there's a couple, like TriCube, we just used it. It works fine, like, because you can do the little mini character sheet. It was pretty great. You just have those two generic stats you can use. Pretty easy and convenient. So let's, how bigly is this room? I don't have a grid on this thing. I can't tell. But really, we can just make it whatever we want, I guess. It's a remaster. We're allowed to change things. Oh, this is another thing I didn't like. Yeah, about the the circle room. Like, I have these add-on floor tiles, and they don't show up over here in the room builder. Just came from your hard versus soft magic video. Chef's Kiss. Yeah, that one's taken off. I don't know what I did differently in that one, but it's making a lot of good rounds, and I'm happy, and it's gotten a lot of good feedback. When making battle maps, I often prefer things to be a little rat. I got the heart thingy in the way. I can't see. I hate YouTube. Battle maps are fun. I usually just make like a basic square and put a bunch of debris in the way. Rocks and fallen trees or broken buildings. I think it's because it's a common question what's trying to... Yeah. It is. So there's another one I did. It was world building. How much is too much? And that one also did really good compared to my other videos. I don't know. This is kind of random. Like, those two did really good, but then Easy D6 and Mouse Ritter reviews have also done really good. So let's. It doesn't matter what we decided we can change this. So let's just make it a nice even circle. That's enough room for our battle, right? Do we have like 4 or 5 people in there? I think so. So let's see. Oh, does this look funny if I... Okay, I didn't realize I need to hide that. Oh, it doesn't look like y'all screen's tearing. Yeah. How am I gonna... Oh, I probably just needed to make it a little bigger. So let's do this. Let's do this. Let's get me a... Just get me a starting point here. And then we'll... This is also a feature that I really, really wish Dungeon Draft had. Like when I make this room, like that big circle, or this little room over here. I wish you could just move the whole thing, like just select all and then move somewhere. You can, like when you put a bunch of objects in there, you can select all the objects and make a, what do they call it? A prefab, but that's like just the items. So you have to redraw your walls and floor. You know, it's better than nothing, but I just wish, man. I just wish. Anyway, we are going to need to make this much bigger. Give me about 15 more tiles up that. Woo! Alright. And then there wasn't a great big old room in here. Thoughts on Dungeon Alchemist and other AI map tools. Trying to figure out if the Master of Realms could test. I haven't. Dungeon Alchemist sounds familiar, but I can't. Go look it up real quick. Dungeon Alchemist. I think I saw that one in. Is it in Steam? AI powered map generation. Ah. Yeah. But I don't remember it being AI, but that sure looks like what I'm thinking of. I mean, if it works, and you're not big in map making, I don't, you know, if you just want a map, so fine. I don't see anything wrong with it. Even better, like this one looks like it's 3D. So if it generates you a map and, you know, puts a bunch of stuff down, if you can click individual things and move them around, that'd be pretty snazzy. It's a great way to get something started. Some people, myself included, when they look at a blank canvas, they get kind of overwhelmed. But then when you just plop something down, you're like, oh, that's cool, but I'd move this over here and I'd put that over there, and then I'd put a wall, you know, then they just go to town. It might be something completely different by the time they're done. So it could be cool, but like I enjoy making maps. I enjoy just sitting here doing it, placing things and drawing the walls. Despite the swearing I do sometimes when I can't get something to work right. So let's see. Yeah, it's on Steam. Okay, I thought I recognized it. I thought so. Alright, I gotta keep looking at this picture. It might be. And there's, since you're looking stuff up, RPG Stories. That is also on Steam. The folks that made that reached out and they're like, hey, we want you to, you know, do a review, check it out. So I might be my, no, I'm sorry, not the video I'm working on, but the one after that. It might be that one, just a review on it. And it's in a 3D space and it's super relaxing. It's fun just to get in there and start drawing stuff. So yeah, I mean, if you enjoy map making, then AI would obviously not be the best, probably, but if you're just like, I just want something, you know, I don't want to spend a lot of time on this, then absolutely. The wisdom of the squirrel. Well, you're welcome. I want some cracked up floors. I like those. I'm gonna turn my snap back on. Ah! That's a circle. See, I'm gonna be in the same boat that I was in that last map I just was talking about. Can we make a circle? Oh, yeah, duh. Almost asked a really stupid question. But it didn't, so nobody knows. Nobody has to know. Ooh, that's dark. I don't like that. That's dark. That's too dark. Alright. I just tap it. Give me... Let's try and match it. Except... Alright, I don't think I made this here room big enough. I sure didn't. I sure did not. Alright, that's pretty unfortunate. My sense of scale... You know what? I think I just realized something I could have been doing. Where is this picture at? Open file location. Grad High School. Okay. If I trace image, and then we go in here. Oh, that's interesting. Y'all don't get the pop-up box. Neat. I just copy paste here. Tovenaar. Okay, can I... Yeah, draw inside the room, then that's probably what I have to do. But I can resize the walls easy enough because it's not the circle room. It's a lot easier to do. Well, yucks. And well, okay. Well, we can. That's about it, right there. Kind of, sort of, mostly. My circle's a lot bigger. But this is the same. Okay. Well, now wait a minute. How come my room's bigger than that? Oh, I made my circles a lot bigger. Well. And that also is like half a square. How did that work out? It's getting trippy. What if we Alright, I'll make it a little bigger. I mean, really, there's probably a way I could go back into Dungeon Painter or whatever and just export it properly. I think I still have the file. Thing is a couple of years old at this point. Actually, probably like 4 or 5 years old at this point. Yeah, that didn't line up at all. Huh. I remember that being three squares wide. Pretty sure. Yeah, that's interesting. All right, how do I get rid of you? Ah! That just deleted those. Clear. There we go. Okay. All right, let me get it a little more. So there's like a hop and a hop. The idea was they could hop here, and then they could hop here, and then they had like this tall jump. All right. So let me. It ain't gonna be this big. I'm just getting them out of the way. Yeah, that's how big they were in the other one. And nothing says it couldn't be like that in this one. So it's like one person. Problem is, like in VTTs, like it can be kind of a booger to land right there. That is one thing I have learned in all my map making is sometimes what looks cool doesn't work very good with tokens snapping to a grid. Let's see. And then that's gonna have to be okay. And then And the way this room worked, let me bring it up for you again. There were like ratmen at the bottom, but they were blind. I think that's what they were. They weren't just blind, they were like kind of zombified a little bit. But the idea was to get across here without making noise. And if you slipped, you know, hit the ground down there or like bump the edge or something, they would hear you and just come barreling up the pillars. So that's how that worked. This needs to have something like that. And then I think, you know, I thought this was going to be a lot easier. I thought I was going to have an easy map making day. Never, ever, ever. Alright. But see, now we do run into the problem. How do we make these guys look like they're high up? Got dirt going on. We'll leave the dirt. Actually, let's make that the gravel. For rocky. Then kind of like the moss. That's just blending right in. I mean, we can change the color of the floor, but need a way to raise. Actually, you can see through. Yeah. We can make that something else, or we can just change the color if we want to. Well, make it pop a little more, or we can just make it something totally different. But either way, like, it's not, well, it needs an edge. Now, what I did, final run part 2, is that it? Yeah, I gave these edges because the idea was they're hopping down. This was kind of like a vertical map. They started up here and there's like all these floating islands that are kind of shifting around and moving in the void, and they're hopping down, doop, doop. I could make it look like these had an edge just fine because the view was a little different. Love that setup. I forget that failed jumps don't always need to be bottomless pits. Yeah. Were you? I think you were here when I was showing the acid pits and what I was trying to do. But yeah. That might be kind of the same thing as a bottomless pit, you know, just insta-death. If you put circular pillars on the layer under the circular floor areas, that'll kind of add an edge and a slight shadow if you mess with the scaling. So by a circular pillar, do you mean an object of some kind, or am I misunderstanding? I feel like, oops. Ooh. That's a little too big, Captain. That just looks messy. Old Legend of Zelda Dungeon might give you an idea how the walls slant inward and everything. Yeah. Actually, the water part of this dungeon was very Zelda inspired. Like the object. So, okay, so what are you getting at here? Pillar. I have to push enter. So what did you say? If you put a circular pillars on the layer under the circular floor. Oh! I think I know what you're saying. I think I know what you're saying now. I gotta find a good one though. And you squeeze that between the floor and the terrain. The walls below water. Okay, so you could do that. I can't scale it up enough. Dang it. But I see what you're saying. That's a good idea. So if we had the right object. Bottom one. Yeah. Ooh. Ooh. That little square is coming out of it, but well, there you go. Well, that does give us a little shadow. Could we lower it a little to make it just like dude was saying, you know, a Zelda wall where it's slanted. So you got that, or you could just put it dead center for a shadow, or you could have this mess I got over there. Yeah. But really, if you were an artiste of sorts, you could just make yourself a new asset here that's ever so slightly sloped, and then you could just tuck it under there. Hey, I like that. You can see the black line right there. I went a little too far with that one. That looks good right there. Okay, so let me beep, boop, boop. Let me do that. Gotta get it just right. Or, you know, have the AI machine do it for you. I would say, though, that's probably one thing, you know, the AI won't be able to do in your AI map maker is not abusing, but finagling might be a better word. So, like, I don't have anything for a switch. So what I usually do is I will have something. So let's say there's a lever over here. I will have something sticking out of the wall like that. So, you know, the players don't see the blade up there. They just see this thing sticking out. And they're like, oh, that's a lever. So I like to use the sword and the spoon, I think it is. Yes, the almighty spoon. Just, whoop, that's a good lever. So, I don't know. Maybe the AI would know how to do that. All right, that was a good idea. That works pretty good. That gives us some depth, as long as it's a a nice round circle. So, what do we do for these square platforms now? Do I have a big square I can put under there? Put a coffin under there? Well, shucks, it almost works. Got the funny edges, though. Now this one I might... Hang on. It might work over here. What did wrong with? Let me... I don't need a transition. That's okay. Meh. Doesn't really match. Also doesn't look that well. If I did, that's how shadows work. And that kind of helps. It doesn't look very tall though. Then I guess you could do something Well, that went right over it. So if I do 1.5 be the math I'm looking for? Nope. I'm trying to figure out how to get it to snap in the right place. 175. Yeah. Alright. Something like that. You can change the layer on the path, yeah. Which would probably be easier than what I'm trying to do. I was attempting to be lazy. But it ended up costing me more work. Oh no. It just looks so short. What if... No, I think you do that here, don't you? Get it? I can't. Ah, that's actually kind of cool. Oh, that's right. You don't undo edit points. Well, that's gone. We want this one to be on top. So that just looks silly. It doesn't make it look taller. That makes it look silly. Right? Let's see. Then we can put our shadow back. And if we wanted super fine detail, rubble. Put some tiny rocks down there. Perspective is a constant battle. It's true. It's true. Oh, you know what? You know what? Since there's zombie things down there or whatever. There you go. This can give us some perspective on how far down it is. It's like somebody that missed the jump. Ah. So let's see. That's like a 5-foot tall skeleton, right? Squares are 5 feet. Well, that would be about normal. So if we shrunk her down, that's how far down it is. That'll give you an idea. And then we can put a little rubble right there. Look like he fell off. Lost his footing. Maybe another one over here. Oh, a lot smaller. There we go. Bonk. I also find using ash under props can make things look older and dusty. Ash. Is that from a pack, or do I have... Is that... Oh, there's some in vanilla. And what do? Under things. Like an old dusty skeleton? Nah. Alright. Now, I'm trying to remember how this room worked 5 years ago. There was... As you can see, just this little floating tile. If that's right, if you fell down. Dang it, there was a switch in here somewhere. There was a fake switch somewhere. And if you flipped the switch, a door opened at the ground level where the zombie rat thingies were. And the door wasn't locked. You could just walk to it and open it. But there's a switch here that they think, oh, we got to flip the switch. It would open this door, and then the rat men would yip over into the next room. So if you didn't flip the switch, you'd just walk through and you'd be fine over here. And there was a chest over here in this corner. That's right. And I feel like there was another way to open this door in case the players fell down and couldn't get back up or something, but I can't. That's a long time ago to remember that. So, we need... I do like the fake switch, though. That's mean. Let's see. So that's that room. We will draw us our little secret room. It doesn't need to be, it's just a little hallway. Oh, I ran out of map space again. Oh no. Whatever will I do? Actually, I didn't mess nothing up. Alright. Let's see. This is just another big square room. Of course, I think I may have messed that up. No. We are fine. Alright. We just do that, and then whoops. Overshot. Okay, and then this is also grassy green. Now, one of the players, I was about to say, I think I'm the only one in my group that likes making maps, but then I remembered there's one who loves doodling just his own stuff, like on paper. And let me find, I think I took a screenshot. Pretty sure I did. Yes. This is actually pretty great. How do you open the folder? Yeah. All right, let me show this. He drew that up. Hand drawn maps. Yeah, you probably saw him post it in the server. This is, I'm trying to move around like I'm actually playing Tabletop Simulator. This is just a screenshot. But yeah, this is some of those doodles he was showing in the server. He uploaded it in the Tabletop Simulator, and we were playing Break with 2 exclamation points. That's pretty cool. I love the stuff he makes. And he actually he didn't make the Badger, but all these other characters he did the pixel art for, and then just dropped them into Tabletop Simulator. Yeah, it is very cool. And oh yeah, that bad guy was cool. I don't know if he made the bad guy or not. I feel like he did. And there's a fish, a giant fish that we fished out, and they didn't kill us, but man, it sure made a fool out of all of us. We had the hardest time taking it down. Oh, that was a good time. So this one just had a bridge going across it. And I think, I can't remember, there was something up with the bridge. The chest may have been down here. Or it was like a little hidden wall. Because you can just hop over here. Then hop over here. I forget. There was something special over here because I had it tucked away. And once again, you can see how Dungeon Painter did very well with the perspective there. To make it look like it was at least somewhat raised. I feel like there was something up with the bridge. Like it wasn't there. Or it would fall apart, or I don't know. We're just drawing it. We're not making it work. Fix that. Don't get cross-eyed. Let's see. I really wish this floor would remember the color you pick. Alright. So now this might actually be a little easier. Maybe. I don't know. We're gonna experiment. Rain. Well, no, let's just use the rock. But first, let me... Now, pick the color again. Alright, and that's just a simple square. Alright. Good deal, good deal. And then what I was going to try and do... there's just a little... See, and this is what I started to say earlier and then just totally forgot what I was saying. You can make these nice organic shaped things, but then when you get into the VTT and the tokens want to snap to the squares, like it doesn't work as good as you were hoping. You start making narrow tunnels and you're like, oh, you can't actually get through that. I'm sorry. There's a wall in the way. Let's try... I don't know how this is gonna work. Or look. I know how it's gonna work, but... I mean, that's... I mean, I kind of like it. But it's not gonna match over here. Let me reduce that a bit. Okay. Then shadows, baby. Kinda missed. Alright. Oh. Get up in there. That's not bad. That's not bad at all. I'm appreciating my cliffside here. Yeah, I do kind of wish you could have the slanted Zelda walls. I think I saw an asset pack that did that. Pretty sure, but I don't know if I'm sure enough to bet money on that. Or maybe I just saw somebody make a map like that and had nothing to do with dungeon drafts. That's about wide enough, I think. Yeah, too wide. Too short. Too thin. Just right. Alright. Yeah. Like so. Alright. I think what we can do to help ground this a little bit. Rubble. Maybe? I don't know if that actually helps. I might just be lying to myself here. I don't know. Meh. Meh. So then we'll do the same thing over here. Good. Right. Push it back a little bit. Alright. And then the path to... Well, that is a bridge. Not what I wanted. That's huge. Alright. Also need grow and shrunk. Okay, that's little wonkies. There we go. Totally natural looking and not weird at all. Turn that on. Oh. Make it big again. The sides are looking great. Well, I am glad. Uh-oh. I made a boo-boo. I realized... Maybe I did. Maybe I should have left those on. Okay, now we're gonna play with that a little bit. Yeah. Oh, kind of go back here and do some adjustment on those, maybe. That's alright. I do like the rubble at the bottom. I can add that later. Then we got the thingy-me-doozer down here. Of course. Now we discover a new problem. How are we gonna get perspective on this side? Oh no! Would be a little mind-boggling if you that on. Well, of course, that's also huge, but you know, I said that'd be mind-boggling, but I'm gonna be honest, it doesn't look too bad. Who needs consistent perspective? Okay, so what if we... Alright, I feel like that shouldn't look good as it does, but... Darn it if it doesn't look pretty good. That's getting the Zelda effect going on now. It's like everything's slanting down inwards. Huh. I'll be darned. I'll be darned. Finishing point is looking down into... Yeah, that's kind of what I'm getting here. That's pretty neat. Really need those slanted walls you were talking about. Give me a little bigger shadow, make this easier. I think I need another. Oh, I just hold. Oh, I grabbed the. Well, shucks. I want to grab this guy. All right. That's a little wonky, but it's all right. It's alright. I want to have to remember that trick, though, that JJ did. Talking about here with squeezing something between the terrain and the ground. Sliding an item under there. That's pretty good. Dash pretty good. Alright, what else was in this room? I think that's it. Yeah, just the bridge and then a hallway. Oh, that's right. So there was... Go through here. And then... Yeah, there was a riddle in here. There was a statue. I think it was a statue of a lady. And she was holding scales. And they were lopsided. They were both empty. Both pans were empty in the scales. And they were lopsided. And... golly. The answer was blood. Somebody just had to put a drop of blood in one of the scales. Yeah, there was an old rusty sword in one of the pans. That's right. They weren't both empty. And I want to say it looked proper in the sense that the sword was weighing down the scale. And I forget what the riddle said. The cost of peace or something like that. I don't know. But the answer was blood. And there was also a hint on the wall. It was like some verse from Revelation or something like that about blood, and but it was hidden with a bunch of vines, so they had to do some checks to actually catch that. Did you also make the map? You're just trying to make it look better? Yeah. This is a map I made in the first campaign I ever ran. I'd made it in a different program, and I'm trying to update it, make it look better. Because it was a map they enjoyed, but it was something I made. I didn't get it from someone. Tovenaar was a bad guy that I made up, and we'll work with their backstories and all that. Because yeah, this was one of the players was a rat folk thing. I think they're just called rat folk, and he found, well, he always knew. The party found out he had some brothers and sisters, but they had been captured by this evil wizard who had been doing a bunch of other things. And yeah, this player had to kill his brothers and sisters. It was pretty brutal because each brother and one sister is a mini boss in this place. And when he fights all three of them, one of them comes to his senses as he's dying. Like, man, you know, we did this all for you. We were trying to save you, keep you out of trouble. Heartbreaking moment. Blech. They were being controlled by the wizard, and I totally did not steal the scene from the Clone Wars where the troopers saying the nightmares are over. They're finally over. Blech. And he dies. Totally didn't steal that. Right, so we gotta make a little hallway. I need more tiles. Not 150 tiles. Give me the snap. Alright. This is, yeah, just a pretty generic room. Nothing special. Probably way bigger than it needs to be. Reminds me. Just watched Flushed Away last night. Rat-centric lifestyle. Oh, is that the... That's the claymation one, isn't it? It's got that song I really like in it. Love hearing about the fun stories of other sessions. Yeah. And that's... So, see, instead of going through the, streaming the sessions and stuff, that way you guys, you have to watch all the shopping sessions and, the let me look up the rules. What I would like to do is do a campaign recap. And I attempted to make a full breakdown storytelling of my first campaign, but that's like a 5-hour video. That's a lot of work. And the longer I wait, the more I forget. But I feel like it'd be kind of neat. You know, it's like, hey, here's all these cool things that happen. That way you're just getting the good parts, right? You're not getting the, all right, you know, let me look up the rules. All right, I roll, I miss, I roll, I miss too. All right, the bad guy rolls. Oh, he kind of hit a little bit, and he cast a spell. Oh, I counter the spell. You skip all that. The Fallout. That was a fun one to make. I do want to do more. I have thought about streaming some solo play sessions. I have thought about that because I feel like they'd be more, they'd be a little faster paced, and you wouldn't have to wait on other people. Plus, then the chat could like throw in suggestions. It's like, oh, do this, do that, or you know, have this guy come around the corner. My first campaign would have been GURPS Light back in 2013. Worst mistake. GURPS? Isn't GURPS a pretty crunchy, rules heavy system? Is GURPS the one that has like the infinitum character maker thingy? Like that's 100 pages or something? Or am I thinking of something else? Let's see. So GURPS is the most crunchy system. Okay, that might be the one I'm thinking of then. I've heard people talking about that. If I do... Yeah, this would probably look better. Maybe. No, not so much. Like dozens of books. Ugh. Man. So I started off, and I'm sure I've told this story 100 times by this point. I started off in 5e. That's what I was exposed to. And I actually had a couple friends, like different friend groups, try and get me into, you know, play a TTRPG. I was like, I like the sound of it. And, we got... Usually something would happen, right? You know, people wouldn't be able to get together or something. But, man, one time we made it far enough to get to the character creation, and we got about halfway through it, and I was like, this sucks. I don't like this. And if the game is anything like this, I don't want anything to do with it. So, I left mid-character creation because I was just not having a good time. And, part of that might have been the people that were trying to explain it. And fast forward, to make a long story short, I got thrust into a position where I had to GM for a group, and I was like, I don't know anything about D&D, but like I will pick up the slack that somebody has created in the community I was running. Like I'll do it if y'all don't mind me learning as we go. And they're like, oh, that's fine. You know, I had a GM, a guy with like 20 years of D&D experience, and somebody with 10 or so, and it's just like crap. but they loved it, so Pup to Gaming, only cool stuff allowed. Yeah, I gotta try me one of those, man. But all that to say, D&D was all I knew for a couple years, and then I'm like, man, I love this concept, but I hate this system. So big brain Squirrel, instead of saying, I'm just going to go look for another system, I thought, I'm going to fix this system. And I started making like a big overhaul for 5e. And somewhere along the lines, I just happened to discover EZD6. And I was like, wow, this is exactly what I want. So I'm not going to bother making anything. Why am I going to put in all this work to fix somebody else's mistake? So I'm just going to play EZD6. Polishing the turd, exactly. I've been doing experiments on different groups of people who have never tried any TTRPGs, starting each group on their system. That's could be interesting. What I was getting at was I have found I am a huge fan of the rules light because I'm in it for the story and the adventure, you know, and I guess the jokes. And I can't stand that Hang on, let me look up the rules. How's this spell work? You know, everything having a description. It's just like, holy crap, you know? Just roll some dice. What happens? And modifiers and proficiency bonuses. Holy crap. Alright, we need some overgrowth along the walls here. Let's see. Get another glance at this room. Yeah, it's kind of got the same vibe going on. Yeah. So far, Morkborg seems to be the best for... Really? That seems to be the best for introducing. So, I don't know if you saw it. I did a video review for something called Adventurous. And that game was meant to introduce people to TTRPGs. And I feel like it's pretty easy. Well, actually, it's really easy to play. The book is kind of thick. And by that, I mean, if it's to introduce people to TTRPGs, I feel like you'd want something easy D6 size, where it's this real tiny book with giant print. But there is a lot to it. But actually playing Adventurous is very, very straightforward, very easy. And I feel like it does a very good job at introducing people. Like, hey, here's what TTRPG is like. And the way you make your characters and the fact that you level them up so fast, like while you're playing in one session, encourages you to try different characters, different builds, and do it again and again and again. And then once you get the knack of it, you know, the hang of it, you're like, okay, now I'm ready to go try a real TTRPG, you know, like just try a different game. Because that one you definitely, I don't think anyway, you could do a campaign very well. I mean, obviously anything's possible, but I don't feel like it's made for that. The idea is it's to introduce you to TTRPGs. That's why the guy made it, because he was trying to introduce friends to TTRPGs and he didn't know which system to use. So I think it's interesting. Having a game solely designed as a stepping stone. Did I... So, I already read that. It kind of goes for any rules light system, really. Man, rules light's just the way to go. And I'm pretty sure I said it in my EZD6 video. I feel like EZD6 is what D&D should have been. Whereas Mouse Ritter is like a super fun game, but it is its own thing. Like it brings its own flavor to the table. And that's cool. I was really hoping to find a statue of a lady with some scales or something. A big Buddha lady. Okay, that one's holding his hands out. I think you could lie with that. Oh, there's a lady. Okay, where's the stone version? There's another lady. Does that have a name? Other than wood statue? Statue wood, nope. Dang it. Usually you have a wood and stone version of these statues, but I'm not seeing that one. It's next to the big ones. There's the big ones. You get this fairy looking thing. What? I am upsetty spaghetti. I don't need no dang cowboy. I guess you could use this guy. He's got a sword. You could just rub some blood on him. Sure be real good for you. I'll have to give it a try. Yeah. It's kind of expensive though, is the problem. The price is a little high. I will concede. It is high priced. Last I looked, anyway. Excuse me. But I did like, matter of fact, let me just pull it up real quick. Let's see. TTRPG game system. What did I say it was called? Adventurous? Rule book. I did like, and I'm sure it's not the only thing that has done this by a long shot. The way all the way down to the bottom. Maybe not that far. Where's bad guys? Bad guys, the bad guys. Oh, I'm on the bad guys. Okay, so if I can... These must be like big bad guys. Where's... Really? I thought there was like multiple guys on one page. Alright, well, whatever. So, you have your bad guys, and I will be honest, I forget how the armor works. I think that just reduces the damage, but when you're the GM running the bad guys here, you roll, everything's d6s. So you just roll 1d6, and then that has the attacks weighted. Like, there's only a 1 out of 6 chance for this ability to happen if you roll the 3. Whereas if you have 1 or 2, you get arrow to the knee, which is totally not a Skyrim reference. And then 4 and 6. So I like that. So, like, you don't choose what the... I mean, you can, but, like, if you want to be... lean more into the randomizer and let the dice determine, you can just whoop, roll for their attacks. I thought that was pretty cool. I hadn't seen one do that up until that point, so... I thought it was neat. I appreciate long campaigns, but rules light one-shots where you can complete a story is just so satisfying. So, when I was getting into Easy D6, that was one thing I saw a lot of people say, like, oh, you can't run a campaign with this. I was like, you absolutely can run a campaign with this. Like, I can see ways to grow your character by giving them magic items and loot and stuff like that. And then DM Scotty turned around and made the level up deck of cards you can get, which looks super cool. But yeah, like, just because it's rules light doesn't mean you can't have a lengthy campaign. I mean, I think it's more fun when you don't have that level up path like D&D does. You know, you got to find loot and things. Then that way you can be like, instead of having this table that you work your way through, it's like, okay, what's important to your character? How do we level them up? Like, oh, well, you know, I'm real fragile. I want to get, you know, strong, more health, or, you know, maybe some armor or some kind of magical protection, or hey, I want this really super cool fire sword or something. I don't know. I try out as many different systems as I can. Well, you must be better at reading than I am, because, man, I have such a hard time learning new systems. As long as the system has any kind of progression, you can easily run long-term games. Yeah, that's true. And honestly, Adventurous is the only one that I have said I don't see it running a campaign. And I'm comfortable saying that because I don't think it was designed to. Like, the intent was, hey, play this, try it out, then go find your flavor, right? I feel like that's what it was designed for. And does a very good job of that. I need more tiles. I need more tiles. So many more tiles. Actually, we might as well just add 20 because I need a little bit over here, but then this room goes straight across that way. So there's going to be... That's not true. I was going to say there's going to be so much empty space right here, but you have that little corner room that comes off. There's still going to be a lot of empty space. I hate having empty space on my maps. Tape? No. I would just leave it as it is. Alright, so... Yep, and then that just opens into a big old room. Alright. It's just a big old room. Just a big old room. What was that? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Alrighty. Yeah, and then they came in here and dude was crawling on the ceiling and they didn't see him. And he shot him. So do I have the flames? I don't remember if I said this or not. We're also the flame was the color. Like his was green, the water one was blue, and the fire one was red. Like fire. What is... Man, do I really not... Okay, I have that. We can do that. I can't change the color of the fire. Sad day. But we can do this. Big braziers. And then we can put a fire in it. A fire. Go far. Oh. I will say the mouse ritter progression is fine, except I think it's because we're doing a play-by-post. Normally we've just done one-shots, and we've been in a play-by-post for a while, so we actually hit a level up point, and we realized how wonky the health was. I think when you make a character, you just roll like a d6, and it's like, you know, whatever you get, you get. You're mice, you're not supposed to have a lot of health. But when you level up, I think it's you roll 2d6, and then you get whatever that rolls. If it's higher. So one character we were playing with had like 1 HP. That was their health. And then they leveled up and then had 12. Meanwhile, I went from like 5 to 6. And it was like, okay, I was the beefy one and now I just got surpassed by the little squishy mage. But twice over. And it can keep escalating through the levels like really bad, and you know, we were kind of doing the math and it's like, okay, you know, on average it levels balances out, but it's like, yeah, that's across multiple characters and levels. So I don't know, we weren't a fan of that. We love everything else about the game, but that seems really weird, especially compared to how well structured everything else was about it. Ryan says, ah, as always. What's up, Ryan? You always announce your presence so well. Let's see, I need to put some doors. Just work. You still liking the new Jorb? I was thinking about Jorbs today. Thinking, man, I should go back to my Jorbs. I ain't done it in so long. But man, it's such a crappy industry. I don't wanna. Diving into the Traveler. Jorb is good. Jorb is great. Big happy time. Good shiny rock. Did the job give you a shiny rock? Actually, you know what? I just fired this up the other day. I could show y'all what I used to do here. Some of y'all may even know what this is. This is what I used to pilot all day. SolidWorks 2022. That was the last time I did anything with it. I think I crashed it too. It's still loading. Uh-oh. Broke it. Didn't like being streamed. Oh, there we go. Yeah! I used to like make things for manufacturing. Look at that. I can make a brick. Model a die? That would not be quick. And well, actually, tell you what. Yeah, we can. I'll make you a D6. A giant D6. There you go. You want some rounded edges? There you go. It's a D6. Isn't it the best thing you've ever seen? Man, do I even remember how to... Man, if I modeled it up, how many 42mm squares are in a 19-inch rack case? I would have to model that up and see. Anyway, that's what I used to do all day. I enjoy running that software and making stuff, but man, the industry was poo-poo. People were poo-poo. Terrible environment. And you know, you really weren't doing anything with your life. You just other than making somebody else a lot of money. Patchy patchy, let's see. I like it. We're gonna... You know what? Let's try... Really cool hardware tool that uses code like OpenSCAD, but with some GUI niceness. So... Oh, golly, what is it? Oh, I forgot. Dang it. There's a free CAD thing. You can, it's all browser based. And it's very, they're trying to be very similar to that software I just opened up. So that SolidWorks program, that's like the leader in the industry. They have the biggest footprint in the market. Golly, what is it? I can't remember what that thing's called. But anyway, a bunch of developers left SolidWorks and went and started that one. So that's why it's so similar. But also because it's what most people are familiar with. But it's free. The deal is whatever you make gets saved on their network or servers or whatever and is public. So, you know, don't make anything you don't want somebody to see. And if you want private storage, then that's where you pay. But I haven't worked with it myself. Man, I cannot... Man, I had it right on the tip of my tongue what that thing was called. Completely lost it. Totally lost it. Dash too big. Maybe. Not round enough is the problem. That one might work. Maybe? That one is a little tighter. I think we might do that. That also looks like they can, like, kind of get their feet on the edges and whatnot. So if we do that, and then 66, remember that. Not edit points. I think I like that better. It still looks pretty short. These look good and tall. So... Alright, what if we... Ooh, so big! So big! That'd be a little bit much. That is a little grotesque. I need it tighter packed. What do? Oh no. They're so funny shaped, like right here there's a weird lip. Why do these look so much taller? Alright, I gotta go look this up real quick. SolidWorks free alternative online. FreeCAD? Oh, that ain't it. Solid Edge. Was that it? It doesn't look like it. Oh, that ain't it. That might be it. Solid Edge? No. What did I say? Browser based, not online. You say it's not FreeCAD? Oh yeah, definitely not. Definitely not. Alright. I feel like it had solid in the name. Because, you know, SolidWorks. FreeCAD, Fusion 360. Onshape. There you go. Doesn't have solid. It's Onshape. Onshape is the one I'm thinking. Alright. Now I can get that out of my brain. Bigger shadow plus slimmer taper, more depth, maybe? I mean, it's tapered just pretty thin. But maybe a bigger shadow. Maybe. That helps. I think we might only be able to get so much out of this. And that's fine. I mean, players aren't even going to be looking at these shadows, you know. I'm making it way harder than it has to be. Because I can. I'm not a fan of CAD as a service because the service will die. Yeah. Yeah. Browser-based CAD ain't the... Not the... It's... Well, so it's trying to break into the hobby market, right? And that's what Fusion... That's what Fusion 360 did. That's what Fusion 360 did. They really breaking into the hobby market and like small businesses that can't afford their own license. Because, you know, a good CAD license is like $5,000. Ask me how I know. And yeah, it doesn't work when you get to real manufacturing and like real project making. You can't. Browser based don't work. I think we are gonna go with that though. Cool as this trick was. Ah! Shadow. Big pricing? Mm-hmm. Rather use Blender CAD. Is there really a Blender CAD, or are you just talking about Blender? I have tried Blender a couple times. I can't stand it. Like, it has the worst interface. It's so bad. And that's a pretty common complaint for what I hear. I couldn't get past it. I'd love to use it, but... Blender CAD is Blender plus CAD plus... Okay. Or minus Sketcher. Alright, alright. Interesting. Yeah, I really... So, you know, all the 3D modeling that I have done is... Uh-oh. My phone's ringing. Let me answer this real quick. People calling me. I don't want to talk to y'all. Good grief. Alright. Use it as a video editor. The Blender interface changed drastically in the last 2 years. Well, maybe I need to give it another go. So, what I was going to say before I was so rudely interrupted by the phone. All the modeling that I have gotten to do in my life, while some of it was exciting in some ways, none of it was very... I guess artistic might be the word. Well, I don't want to say it wasn't creative, because you definitely had to be creative on some of that stuff. Come up with a creative solution, anyway. But you know, like, you couldn't go model the head of a dragon or something, right, in SolidWorks, because that's not what it's for. So I would love to learn how to do some of those sculpting programs, and I got not ZBrush, it's the ZBrush competitor. 3D Code. And people, it's so hard to find any like tutorial or anything on it, and people I've seen in forums, they're like, oh yeah, this is like really powerful software, and I got it when it was just coming out, and I got it really cheap, and it is very not cheap now, but you know, I got grandfathered into everything, and people who can figure out how to use it, they're like, yeah, it's great, but you can't get a tutorial to save your life. There's just no documentation anywhere. It's like, holy crap. So I would love to get into one of those programs and just 3D doodle, you know? If I ever figured it out, I would probably never get anything done. I've done a bit of Blender here and there, but 3D modeling is a little beyond me. Yeah. Some people, and that's what I found interesting in the all 10 years or whatever I was in manufacturing working on 3D models. Like some people, they can sketch something out 2D, you know, and there's no question of what you're looking at. Like they'll give you all the views and everything perfectly lines up, but when you get them to something 3D, they're just like, they can't. Their brain just does not process 3D, where mine's the other way around. I have a lot of trouble processing the 2D images and like trying to visualize it in a 3D state. I gotta start in 3D. It's interesting. Wow. That a little far. Can I... How do you delete a point? Oh, you just hover over it and push delete. How easy. Whoa, that one made that one weird. Oh, so if I just like keep putting more points. I don't like that. Ah! Dang it. Try to have as many... Oh, well, CAD is all about 2D, 3D stuff. Lack of documentation in some of the world's most critical software drives me nuts. Yes. I try to have as many skills as I can, but a lot of 3D modeling takes way too long. Well, and that's... I started off... Well, I can't even really say started off. Like, I learned to model in a couple different programs, but never did it on a professional level, like where I was required to produce something. And yeah, some of those... Like, I tried Mastercam. I tried drawing in that, and it's... I would go nuts if I had to draw on that every day. Like, that is not how you make 3D models. But something like SolidWorks, you can breeze through some models with that. At least I can. I got to where I could do it really fast, and that's why people were like, please come work for me. I'm like, well, give me some money. And they're like, well, I don't know about all that. I don't know about paying you a livable wage. You know, that's crazy talk. Crazy talk. Do a lot of resin printing. Oh, maybe one of the little 3D printer boys. I don't know what it is. I don't know if this is just the grumpy old man in me, but like 3D printers, they've been around for a long time, so I can't say when 3D printers came out, but when they really started gaining popularity, they just tick me off. Yes, the engineers at the the workplace be like, "Well, I'm going to 3D print this," or I 3D printed that, and I'm just like, "Gosh, shut up, man." I have no idea why it aggravated me so much, because it's super cool. You can make some really cool stuff for a 3D printer, and I wouldn't mind one of my own, but I don't know. I think the aggravation came a lot from a lot of engineers I worked with thought they could just model up something willy-nilly and then 3D print it and save the day, and it's like, no, that is not at all how that works. I have a lot of beef with engineers. Some of them, not all of them. Some of them's heads just got too big. I mean, they have a point. Living as a squirrel must cost a lot. It's true. Just live in a tree. I just use it because it works out a lot cheaper than buy it. Yeah. Yeah, my brother got into Warhammer for a while. Before COVID. COVID kind of did that in for him because he got to... He couldn't get out, right? You know, everybody was indoors for social distancing and all that. So he kind of got out of the habit when that happened and never got back into it. But yeah, those minis are expensive. I printed one. I worked at a medical facility, so we had... The material we had for our 3D printer was not normal. And I tried printing a Space Marine, and it came out okay. But like, it was not material that was meant to be sanded down or painted or anything like that. So you really couldn't do anything with it. I just printed it to see how it looked. Warhammer is pricey as heck. It really is. I couldn't believe what he was dropping on that stuff, but he was enjoying it, so that's all that matters. But it do be pricey. And then you gotta paint it, put it together and all that. I think that's upside down. That also looks upside down. What? Yeah, I guess we'll just do... right like that. But let's make it a little bigger. That is a little too big. There's a little green right there. Just up it a little bit. Hey. Warhammer is too big brain for me. Go for one page rule. I'm with you, man. I don't love war games, but I do love painting little men and getting emotionally attached to it, or they get shot with a last gun. I just like the models. I do think that's a cool concept with Warhammer. I guess, you know, war games, but like, you know, you spend all these money on these minis and, you know, build your armies, but then you can go use them, right? So it's not like, oh, you just put them on a shelf and you're done. It's like, nope, you can go take them to the battle and use them, and, you know, the more you invest in that, the more you got to bring. I like that part of it. And you can, you know, use, I assume, use them more than once. Whereas when you make a mini specifically for a D&D campaign or something, like, that's, you can reuse them, but like they're kind of meant for that one thing. So, all right. Last time I said this was going to look terrible. So if I did this, is this going to not look terrible? Well, I'll be darned, it doesn't look terrible. Life makes no sense sometimes. I swear. Alright, I'll take it. The victor smashes the loser's minis? Oh no. I don't think I'd play that game. Too hardcore for me. He got really good at painting those things too, which was kind of surprised because our mom was kind of on the artsy side, and I feel like both our grandmas were, and I was always drawn to the artsy stuff. I won't say I was any good at it, but he never really had an interest in it. And then, you know, mid-30s, he decided, I'm going to paint minis, and got really, really good at it. Painting minis is really relaxing. Yeah, I think that was a big draw for him. Like, it really gave him something to do and just kind of focus on, and he'd plop on a podcast or something and listen while he was painting away. Oh, I need some doors right here. Another hidden door. That's a hidden door. Maybe. Okay, so if we do the same thing, I just can't get over that this actually does not look terrible when you do this. Just ain't right. It should look so much worse. Cool, 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 cool. Oh, that needs a shadow under it. Yeah. I think that's where we're going to call it for today. I feel like that probably could have yeeted up there. Hang on. What happens if I do that? Oh my gosh, it doesn't look terrible. Dadgummit. I don't understand perspective. If we do that, I hate everything. Whoop. Alright, I knew I shouldn't have touched this thing. I should have just logged off. It's made up. I'm beginning to believe it. More of an art than a science. Yeah. That's what's frustrating about these path tools sometimes. You'll get like this really fat part. And it's like, dang it, everything else looks good. If I could just shrink that part right there. Well, apparently I can fatten it up. Yeah. Wow. Oh, I gotta quit hitting Control Z. I'm probably undoing my work down here. Yep. I forget that when you mess with the points, you can't Control Z. So if I... There we go. Saved it. That's way too... Ah, dang it. Control... Well, anyway, we can figure that out later. Because I need to get off here. Dude's gonna be calling me back in a little bit. And then I got an AC man coming. I'm gonna go work on my air so I don't roast or freeze. One of those things that's gotta look right, not be right. I agree. It's just got to get the point across. So, we're going to call it a day. We got pretty much the northern side here. I need to put like plants and stuff in here and a bunch of overgrowth. Dress it up. And then that will be the north jungly side. But we got our perspective thing figured out. We got a nice looking thing going on here. And I think that'd be cool. Then we get to do a fire side and then a watery side. The watery side would be tricky. Maybe. I don't know. I thought this was going to be tricky and we figured it out. So we'll see. What is today? Today's Thursday? So next Thursday, that's when hopefully a video will drop, and that's going to be a thought that I had about some new type of thing between TTRPGs and video games. And I know that doesn't make a lot of sense, so you'll just have to watch the video when it comes out. See what my squirrely brain's been up to. And then I will really trying to get back into the streaming once a week and map making or doing whatever. So if anything, I usually join Steph's stream. Shoot some bugs on Friday night when everybody's available, so watch out for that. And I guess I will see y'all later. Thanks again for streaming. It was really fun. It is fun. So make sure you come back next time. I will see y'all next time.